In contemporary medicine, autism spectrum disorder is identified almost entirely through a lens of deficits. Diagnoses focus on observable impairments in social interaction, challenges with communication, and a reliance on restricted, repetitive behaviors. This reliance on descriptive psychopathology defines the experience by what is absent. It measures the person based on what they struggle to accomplish within the rigid boundaries of conventional society. Stepping outside the clinic allows us to observe these differences from a completely different vantage point. Instead of viewing these traits as limitations, we can recognize them as a distinct neurological organization primed for metaphysical reality. This suggests a tension between the tool and the subject. The medical model uses physical instruments to measure a condition that may be, at its core, a specialized spiritual state. In 1911, the German psychiatrist Eugen Bleuler originally coined the term autism. He did not use the word to describe an absence of ability. He used it to document a preoccupation with an internal, symbolic life, an inner world so structured that it often replaces shared, external reality. Across centuries of esoteric traditions, prioritizing a hidden, internal reality over the conventional world is a prerequisite for advancing on the mystical path. From its very inception in clinical history, the autistic orientation was observed as a dedicated commitment to an internally structured dimension. Today, a preference for extreme isolation, a tendency to wander, and a lack of social conformity are flagged as symptoms requiring therapeutic intervention. In Eastern Orthodoxy and Byzantine Christianity, these exact traits belonged to revered religious archetypes. These figures were known as ascetic hermits or the holy fool. Within these traditions, social withdrawal is not a pathology. It is a rewarding environment necessary for cultivating profound inner focus. The autistic inability to participate in social pretense becomes an ascetic rejection of societal hypocrisy. This refusal to mask manifests as a form of moral authenticity. Many verbal autistics struggle with social deception. They cannot navigate white lies, choosing instead to hold tightly to literal, context-free accuracy. Mystics agree. Language creates distinctions. It slices reality into opposing subjects and objects, creating a barrier to unified truth. Because everyday communication relies on truthfulness, it's easily corrupted. Liars exploit this, inserting a layer of deception that fractures reality further, enabling spiritual bypassing. By refusing to lie, the autistic individual steps outside this linguistic compromise. Their unyielding honesty aligns their speech with the eschatological ideal of purity. The medical model views the nonverbal autistic state as a breakdown of communication and personhood. Yet, in practices like pratyahara or Carmelite monasticism, seekers must filter out external stimuli and withdraw their senses to reach a state of contemplative receptivity. If ultimate reality exists beyond the traps of language, then absolute silence is the required medium to receive a direct divine presence. Freed from the entanglement of deceitful speech, the nonverbal state shares this same silence, a state that traditions like Buddhism consider the optimal condition for spiritual union. When sensory input becomes too intense, the autistic individual can experience a catastrophic reaction known as a meltdown. Traditional observation views this as a system failing to manage overwhelming input. The neuromystic operates with a highly sensitive consciousness, but lacks conventional filters. When these break down, an overwhelming influx of unfiltered information floods in. This aligns with the concept of the spiritual trial, a phase where an unprotected seeker inadvertently accesses the lower astral plane, facing an assault from chaotic energy and malevolent forces. In this context, the meltdown is interpreted as a protective reaction, the physical body attempting to shield the consciousness from an intense reality it has no social or mental armor against. We are left with a striking contradiction. The same traits that provide a direct line to uncompromised truth also expose the individual to intense, chaotic forces. Recognizing this changes our responsibility. Instead of curing a perceived biological flaw, the focus shifts to providing boundaries. Forcing an autistic person to mask their traits for the comfort of society strips away their few remaining defenses, leaving a highly sensitive sensorium vulnerable to harm. We must honor these individuals as involuntary contemplatives. The truest form of support is providing the sensory protection they need to survive an intensified spiritual reality.